Hi everyone, I am joined here today with Russ Weldon, the Chief Cultural Officer of Green Home Solutions. Thank you so much for stopping by and coming into the office.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, lifelong entrepreneur, just kind of want to get some background. What was that first entrepreneurial step that you took that got you hooked and into the business of making businesses?
Well, my first entrepreneurial stake was that I was about 10 years old and I sold some cider in the front yard of my house.
Nice.
We got some apples from some friends, produced it. Never get away with this today. Produced it and sold it on the street, and I liked the interaction. I liked the sale. I liked making money. I just enjoyed business.
And I feel like that's obviously a little bit different. You already had that cider angle as opposed to the traditional lemonade, which I think speaks to now what you're doing with Green Home Solutions.
You know, and if I had thought of hard cider, I'd be rich.
There you go. Next time around. And one of the things that I have to ask you about is the fact that your title is Chief Cultural Officer is obviously a little bit different. What is it about a culture within a company that really is so important and crucial to a franchise concept like Green Home Solutions?
Well, firstly, the realization that everyone has a culture. Every office, every building, every business has a culture. If you don't plan it, you get it by accident or de facto. I'll draw the analogy to a will. If you take the time to create a will and decide who's going to get the things that you think are important in your life and you want to pass on to a future generation, to a niece, a daughter, of whatever, then you do that, because if you don't do that, the government has a will for you. They will decide where your things go. It'll not be in your control. This culture you get a culture by de facto in the same way. If you don't plan a culture, if you don't have one, if you don't drive that culture, then it's given to you. It just happens. And sometimes people say, well, how did the company get this way? It's because there was no rudder on the ship, and the ship just went whichever way it went. We spend time driving the culture, and the culture in our system is about caring. It's about, we care about the people that work for us, and then expect those people to care about the people that are our franchisees. So people in corporate work with our franchisees, and our franchisees work with customers. If we don't care about our franchisees, why would we expect that our franchisees care about the end user customer? That experience is culturally driven, and that's my title is Chief Cultural Officer, to make sure that we do have a culture and that we drive that culture, and that culture is healthy and good for the growth of our business and for our customers.
Absolutely. So, speaking of, you obviously were, the man behind wireless, so now with Green Home Solutions, it seems like a lot of these concepts that you are starting are kind of on the cutting edge of a new industry at the time. What is it that draws an industry, or what is it about an industry that is attractive to you? Why do you want to break into segments that maybe haven't been tapped into?
Well, because if you're really going to lead, it's sort of lead, follow, or get out of the way. So for me, if you're going to really lead, find something to lead. I didn't consider leading to get into a food business or a tire business or a mattress business or any of the businesses that are out there and is good, or I'm not saying they're not good businesses, but to me, it's really finding the start of the nucleus is to find a place where you can really carve the niche and be out there. So along with this, I own some other businesses. I own a restaurant, or a partner in a restaurant that's in a park. It's a unique location. It's like a tavern on the green kind of thing, where it's a unique location that separates you from other restaurants. Otherwise, you're on Miracle Mile or wherever you are, you're in line with everyone else. I have a marina. We're the only marina on the lake. It gives us a very unique position. You can't abuse that position, but it gives us a very unique position to have that. To get into a startup in a new category of business where I was told you can't even be in that business, it doesn't exist, was really what gets me going in the morning. That's what wakes me up when people say, you can't do that. So what they told me was that wireless, I started in 84, in 88 I opened the first franchise, and in 1988, people told me, and even 84, they told me that you cannot have a store that just sells cell phones. Well, now we know that that was wrong, and I was cut against the grain, and I started doing it, and it's still in existence today. So when I left that industry, I also left it with ideas and experiences that I said, if I were going to do it again, what did I think were the best ideas and what were the worst ideas? What are things I would avoid if I could? So what I liked about the business was I liked the fact that we were on a cutting edge of a new category, and we were selling something that people was high in demand. People wanted, and there was conversation at every party you went to. What's that phone? What's it? What's going on? How does it work? I mean, does it go to a satellite? There were all kinds of questions, and it was just great to be in the business. Now, what were the problems? The cost of that business kept rising, the cost of getting involved in the business. So when we started out, it would cost the initial franchise fee and all startup costs were under $50,000. And by the time I left 24 years later of the business, it was $250,000. That changes the complexion a lot of the business. So I wanted to go back to my roots. I wanted to do something new. So I started researching, and I looked at dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of different business models and ideas. And the one that I came across that I really was intrigued by was mold eradication, basically getting a problem of mold that we could clean up, and it was easy to do. I mean, it was not difficult to do. There was some science involved, but we could make a franchise around it. But that wasn't all the vision, and that's not what we're all about. That was just the nucleus of getting it going. We're really about indoor air quality. We're about anything that would environmentally impact the air in your house and in your office or wherever you are that is health related. We wanted to be green, so we searched out, could we find products that are green? And yes, there are some green products. They're not as bountiful as the chemicals, but people are leaning towards green. My father wasn't green at all. I am more green than him. My kids more green than me. My grandchildren more green than will be predictably more green than them.
Right.
So we're leaning in the right direction with green products. We're also leaning in the right direction, I think, with the expanse of products that we're offering, and we've added over the last few years new products that are biological in nature that treat for things like Ebola, staph, MRSA, and those types of bacteriological disease-carrying and spreading agents. And we're still taking care of mold problems, which is big now. It's not like whispered in the corner anymore. People are talking about it openly. It's part of every home sale. It's an inspection issue where people are checking for mold. And we've additionally, we've gotten into a new system that adds probiotics to a room, and that's an ongoing benefit to customers.
Absolutely, and as you're working, within these industries, whether it's with Wireless Owner or Green Home Solutions, you're consistently coming back to that franchising business model. What is it about the model in that community that inspires you to continue expanding these concepts through franchising?
Well, franchising is a partnership. It's actually three partners working together. One is the consumer, who I, as a franchisor, really am not involved with. I'm involved with franchisee who has his own independent business, relies on me, I rely on them, we work together, and then when it works, everybody makes money and the consumer is made happy. We solve a problem, we've provided them a service, and that's something also that I liked. Not everybody needs a better stereo system. They might like one, but they don't need it. But with things like mold and bacteria and things that we're working with, they need it, and it's a solution. So I like working in the partnership realm of these three people. The consumer needs to be serviced. The franchisee is providing that service, and we're providing a service to that franchisee. We all need each other. When it works, it's a beautiful model. It's like growing a family. You have, the franchisees are our kids. We got to take care of them. We got to make them that prosper, make them healthy, pick them up when they fall down, kick them if they need a kick, and all the things you do if you love your family.
Absolutely, and you obviously have been very successful as kind of picking out these industries that are going to become very popular. What do you think is next for franchising going forward, even as the green movement is growing, even general trends? What do you think is coming up next?
Well, without a doubt, the big secret I would tell you, but then I'd have to kill you, because if I
Right.
knew the answer to that question, that would be the first place
That
I
you
would be.
yeah.
That I would be. Actually, not. I'm very happy where we are. If I guess again, you have to start. It's research project. It's where you start. If you want to have something successful, start by researching. Even a franchisee that comes to us, we encourage them, look at all the different things that are out there. One of the things that we feel best about is that we can offer them a better proposition than they can get from other franchises and other types of business. We encourage them to take a look at how many hours does your business going to be open? What's going to be the cost of real estate? What's going to be the type of person that you're going to hire and that you're going to work with? How are finances transacted, and what's the chances of evaporation, for example, in a really high cash business? So if you're looking at a business that's open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, has a lot of cash coming through the door, you have low minimum wage employees, it's kind of a recipe for failure, in my opinion. I don't care if you can make a lot of money because you're selling for a high profit margin. It's just, it's got a lot of issues in there, and oversight issues. So remember what I said about what did we look for that was different about this business than the wireless business? In the wireless business, you have a 800,000-pound gorilla called AT&T, Verizon, or whoever the phone company is, Sprint, or whomever it is, that dictates to you what time you open the doors, how you dress, how you answer the telephone, everything about your business. They dictate that. So that was difficult from time to time in the operations of a franchise for wireless. We don't have that business. We don't have that model in Green Home Solutions. We had retail stores, some very, very expensive rents in malls and in parking lots, that freestanding buildings that cost a lot to rent, and long leases and big obligations. And we don't have that in Green Home Solutions. We had to be open the hours that were dictated, including holidays and weekends and things, by Verizon. We don't have that in Green Home Solutions. We didn't have the ability to pick the phones we sell. The phones are dictated by what the carrier wants to sell. We don't have that problem in Green Home Solutions. So it's a vast new. To me, it's just a rebirth in franchising. It's so exciting and so exhilarating, and it's so new.
Absolutely, and I think as more people are, putting in that effort and doing that research before they enter a system, it's going to be exciting to see what happens as companies like yours continue to grow. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us here, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course.